The Stoic secret to wanting what you already have. Stoicism. Look around you right now. Somewhere in this room, in this life, sits a thing you once wanted so badly it kept you awake. A job. A relationship. A home. A body that works. A phone in your pocket that would have looked like sorcery to a king 300 years ago. You prayed for these things once. And then, quietly, without any ceremony, you stopped seeing them at all. That is the strange tragedy of being human. We do not lose the things we longed for. We just stop noticing that we have them. The ancient Stoics understood this trap better than almost anyone, and they lived 2,000 years before the word psychology existed. Seneca, a Roman statesman who was one of the wealthiest men of his age, wrote that no amount of money will ever be enough for the man who thinks it is not enough. Read that again. The problem was never the amount. A person who cannot be satisfied with a little will not be satisfied with a lot, because the hunger does not live in the bank account. It lives in the mind. You could triple everything you own tonight and by spring the new level would feel exactly as ordinary as the old one felt yesterday. Epictetus, a man born into slavery who became one of history's great teachers, put the cure in a single blunt instruction. Do not wish for things to be other than they are. Wish for them to be exactly as they are, and your life will go smoothly. He was not telling you to give up. He was telling you where your peace actually comes from. Modern scientists gave this whole pattern a clumsy name. They call it the hedonic treadmill, the way we sprint after each new pleasure only to adapt to it and start sprinting again. The Stoics named the treadmill 20 centuries early, and then, unlike us, they built practical tools to step off it. Here are the ones that still work. The first practice is negative visualization. This is the heart of the whole method, and it sounds grim until you try it. Once a day, deliberately imagine losing what you already have. Picture your morning without your partner in the kitchen. Picture your hands unable to hold a cup. Picture the roof gone, the paycheck gone, the friend who texts you gone. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Do not linger in it and do not turn it into anxiety. Spend 30 seconds, then open your eyes. What happens is remarkable. The ordinary thing you were about to overlook suddenly glows. Your coffee tastes like something. The person beside you becomes a gift instead of a fixture. You have not changed your circumstances at all. You have only remembered that they could vanish, and that memory hands your gratitude straight back to you. The second practice is the last time exercise. We are haunted by first times, the first kiss, the first day, but we almost never notice last times, because they arrive in disguise. There was a final time you carried your child before they grew too big, and you did not know it was the last. There will be a last conversation with your parents, a last ordinary Tuesday. So try this. Take one small routine today, making dinner, walking the dog, and treat it as though it were the final time you will ever do it. Slow down. Notice the weight of the pan, the cold of the leash, the light in the window. Nothing about the task changes. Your attention changes, and attention is the only thing that ever turns a moment into a life you can feel. The third practice is noticing the ordinary miracle. You have trained yourself to only feel awe at the extreme, the northern lights, the Grand Canyon, the once-in-a-decade view. But the Stoics practiced what you might call cosmic perspective on the mundane. Right now you are drinking clean water that would have been a miracle to most humans who ever lived. A switch on the wall summons light. Food you did not grow appears on a shelf. Try this concretely. Pick one everyday object and trace it backward. The bread on your counter required soil, rain, a farmer, a mill, a driver, a baker, and 1,000 years of accumulated human knowledge to reach your hand. You are surrounded, constantly, by the answered prayers of your ancestors. Learn to see them. The fourth practice is to stop comparing upward. Seneca warned that it is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the man who craves more, and comparison is the engine of that craving. Every time you measure your life against someone with more, you convert your own abundance into a deficit by pure arithmetic. And here is the trap of the modern feed. You are not comparing your whole life to their whole life. You are comparing your ordinary Wednesday to a stranger's single curated highlight. So when you catch yourself scrolling into envy, do two things. First, name it out loud, that is comparison, not truth. Second, deliberately compare downward for once, not with contempt but with honesty. Millions right now would trade everything to have the exact problems you have. That reframe is not resignation. It is a return to reality. The fifth practice is to delay your purchases and watch the desire die. Desire feels permanent when it arrives, like a fact about the world, but it is almost always a wave, and waves break. The Stoics practiced voluntary restraint precisely to see through the illusion of urgency. So install a simple rule. When you want to buy something that is not a necessity, wait. A small thing, wait 3 days. A large thing, wait 30. Write it on a list and let it sit. What you discover will humble you. Most of the things you were certain you needed will feel like strangers within a week. The wanting was never really about the object. It was the itch of the treadmill, and delay is how you prove that to yourself, one dead craving at a time, until you trust that your peace was never for sale. The sixth practice is specific gratitude, not the generic kind. Vague thankfulness does nothing. Saying I am grateful for my health is a phrase your mind slides right over. The Stoics kept evening journals, and Marcus Aurelius filled a whole book naming exactly what he had received and from whom. So be precise. Do not write I am grateful for my friend. Write I am grateful that Sam called me on Tuesday when I sounded off, and stayed on the phone 20 minutes past when he needed to go. Specificity is what forces your brain to actually re-experience the good instead of labeling it and moving on. One vivid, detailed gratitude at the end of the day outperforms a list of 10 empty ones. You are not decorating your life. You are learning to see it. The seventh practice is to give something away and feel how much you hold. Nothing reveals your own abundance like handing a piece of it to someone else. When you give money, time, or possessions, you are forced to confront a quiet fact you keep forgetting. You had enough to spare. The Stoics prized generosity not only as kindness but as clarity, because it exposes the lie of scarcity you tell yourself. So this week, give something that you would slightly rather keep. Not the leftovers, not the thing you were discarding anyway, but something with a little pull on it. Watch what happens inside you as you release it. You will feel, in your own body, the surprising truth that you are not running low. You are running over. Now hear the warning, because this philosophy is constantly misread as passivity, and it is the opposite. Wanting what you have is not surrender. It does not mean you stop building, stop striving, stop reaching for the harder, better thing. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire. Seneca advised one. These were not men who quit. The Stoic move is subtler and far stronger. You act with everything you have, you chase the goal with full effort, and you refuse to let your happiness be held hostage by the result. You strive without needing to win in order to be at peace. That is freedom. Because a person who already has enough cannot be bought, cannot be broken, and cannot be ruled. The world can only pull you by the things you think you are still missing. Stop missing them, and you become impossible to move.